It was the next day that I first noticed a change. Now, as I think back to it, it's hardly surprising that something like that would affect my future life. I'd experienced something remarkably special, something very personal and something very individual. And through the night, as you do, I tossed and turned and wondered about it all. The kind stranger had singled me out for his attention, and I mattered to him. This was completely new to me. It had never happened before. A kind stranger. Well, not like this anyway. The truth is, I felt both weakened and strengthened at the same time by his first encounter. It was actually the weakness and not the strength that felt strangely good. I noticed that my carefully constructed defences had softened. In fact, I had softened. Even overnight, I could sense myself more flexible, more open and happier, and much more relaxed. For the first time in years, I felt safe inside, stronger, in fact, much stronger. I decided to make a drink and sit down quietly and think. And that's when I heard his voice again. It felt so close, and it was not just in my head. It felt as if he was in the room with me, not physically, but definitely here. So I put my drink down and just sat, relaxed, attentive, waiting for him to speak to me. I know this sounds weird and for a rational human adult, but for me it was real as the chair I'm sitting in now, and I felt a wave of warm emotion as I heard the kind stranger's voice again. He was smiling still, and this time his voice was quieter, more personal, almost intimate, and with that wholesome respect and trustworthiness I now associated with him as a person. It wasn't a whisper, just reassuringly quiet. You know what I mean. Perhaps he knew I needed to hear him that way today. I said I'd come, and I always will, I heard him smile. I'm someone you can trust. How did he know that my trust in people was at such a low ebb these days? I'm here to remind you of the truth, he said gently. The truth about you. I settled myself in my chair, and he waited for me. I took a deep, deep breath, and as I relaxed, he gently but firmly continued. From the moment you arrived on this earth as a human being, until the moment you leave it, and that includes now, of course, he smiled again. You have been, are, and forever will be of infinite worth. The word I'd like to use is priceless, because no amount of gold, diamonds, or any number of banknotes in any currency would compare with your infinite worth. He stopped for a moment to let his words sink in, and they needed to. I'd long doubted that I was worth anything very much. And he was so sure, and it came across in his voice. He knew he was right. And in the deepest caverns of my soul, I knew I had accepted his words as truth for me. For the first time since I was a tiny child, I knew how valuable I really was. Of infinite worth, priceless. It just happened. Overwhelmed, I felt my emotions well up, and a single sigh, suppressed for so long, rose within me, and as I breathed it out, the doubt was gone. I knew the truth. I'll be back soon, he said. I think he touched me on my arm again as he left, though I could have imagined it. And so I sat a while, alone and at peace, reconciling each part of my life to what he'd told me. And I looked forward to his next